All right, class is back in session. We're going over the no savings tsunami and why having savings is important for buying your first home. The reality right now for a lot of people is it's hard to get ahead. It's hard to save up the amount of money that they need to purchase their first home. So this section is going to address some of those problems and offer some solutions for you. And hopefully there's just some valuable information here that you didn't know before. All right, so typically, well, almost always, you're gonna need a 5% down payment to purchase your first home. So if you bought a $100,000 home, that'd be nice if there's a lot of those, eh? Then you're gonna need a $5,000 down payment to purchase that home. So all first-time home buyers, you need at least a 5% down payment. And the source of this down payment, it can come from your checkings. It can come from your savings. It can come from your RRSP. Other investment accounts that you have. This can be a gifted down payment. So if you have any family that is willing to give you the down payment as a gift, it can't be something that that you repay to them. So if it's gifted, we can use that. And then last of all, that we're going to talk about a little bit later, is a borrowed down payment. So there are some programs out there that will allow you to borrow your down payment as long as, say you borrowed $20,000, your monthly payment on that, let's say it's $400 a month, we would need to add that on your mortgage application, and you'd have to be able to afford it with your debt servicing like we went over earlier. So the reason why I bring up these different sources, if you're planning to buy a home and you have all of your savings in a GIC. So GICs, the money is locked in. So it's locked in for a full year, but you get, $1,000 at the end of the year if you keep it in there. Typically, they don't allow you to pull money out of a GIC for purchasing a home. It needs to be like an emergency. You need to be in dire financial straits for them to allow you to pull it out. So if you're planning on buying a home and in the next year, 2 years, just make sure that if you lock your money into a GIC, you have a plan around it. So that's just a quick tip for you. So down payment, 5%, 5,000 for every 100,000 of mortgage, and those are the different sources that it can come from. Lenders are also interested in the history of the money. So if you've had your money in your checking or savings account, they want to see the past 90 days of transactions in that account. So you would need to send me, the past 3 months of bank statements showing all of the money that goes in and all of the money that goes out. So if you have any like e-transfers into that account from another one of your accounts, or your family gave you a couple $1,000s for whatever reason, I need to know the source of all of those transfers. And let's say you have 2 checking accounts and you only give me one of the checking accounts, and you transferred $10,000 from this account to this account a month before you buy a home, then I'm going to need both accounts 90 days to show the history of the money. Lenders are worried about the history of the money because people will move money around. Money launderers ruined it for the rest of us, but the money launderers will deposit a whole bunch of cash into a bank account, move it around a bunch, wait a while, and then they'll buy a house with it and launder the money. And so now we have to show the sources. We have to do a lot of triple checking with that. So anyways, going down a rabbit hole with that. So one of the biggest mistakes I make, that that first-time home buyers make, is that they think, well, I only need 5%. That's it. That's all that I need. But they forget about closing costs. So typically a lender wants to see that you have 1.5% of the purchase price available for closing costs. So if we're using the $100,000 example again, they're going to want to see an additional $1,500 put away for closing costs. Although in Alberta, because we don't have these taxes that a lot of other provinces have, in a lot of cases we can get away with only showing 0.5% of the purchase price for closing costs. So just keep that in your head. You're going to need, let's just say 6.5% total saved up of the purchase price for down payment and closing costs. So closing costs are going to be lawyer fees, home inspections, appraisals, all of the things that go into purchasing your first home. And to be honest, 1.5% of the purchase price is way more than what you actually need for closing costs. It's just nice to have some fallback. If you're buying your first home, you don't want to be cash poor day one or house poor day one. You want to go into it with a little bit of a pillow, a little bit of a fallback. You know, you own a home now, so you're gonna want to have some money set away if something bad happens. A furnace goes, you know, we're in Canada. If those go, you need to get a new one, especially if it's in winter. All right, so that's with closing costs, 1.5%, but in a lot of cases, if things are tight, we can go as low as 0.5% for closing costs that we need to show the lender. All right, let's go to the borrowed down payment program. I know a lot of people will be excited about this one because, hey, I can buy a house and I don't have to save up for a couple of years or however long it takes to save up the down payment. So this program isn't going to be for everybody. You need to have good credit. So you can't have any blemishes on your credit. You're going to need good income. And typically with most lenders that I see that use this program, they're going to want to see that you manage your money well. A lot of people that use this program, they actually have the money, but they don't want to pull it out of their investments or different things like that. You can use it if you don't have any savings. It's going to just be a little bit harder, and they're really going to look into your credit, your income, and there can't be any other weird things on your application if you're using this program. And the way it works is you would get a line of credit for, $20,000 or $15,000, however much down payment you need, or a personal loan. You can take it off of a credit card. I don't recommend that. It's going to be a really high interest rate, but you can. So those are the ways that you can get the money, borrow the money for this. So, and then we need to put the monthly payment for that debt on to the mortgage application. So you need to be able to service the debt. So if we add a $400 a month payment on your mortgage application, it's going to bring down your max purchase price. But if it gets you into a home sooner rather than later, and that's your goal, it could be a really good program for you. So this one, you probably need to just meet with me and we would go over your application to figure out if you're a good candidate for it. All right, so the government, in their benevolent state, has offered some programs for first-time home buyers. I make jokes about it, but there's actually some pretty cool ones that I love to talk about. The first one, and this is, depending on when you're watching this, a pretty new program. It was introduced in April 2023, and right now we're in November, and most lenders are starting to offer it now. It's being adopted, but the gist of this program is you can put into this tax sheltered account up to $8,000 a year, up to $40,000 total. So 40K total, and you can keep it in there until you purchase your first home. If you and your spouse or partner are both, you'll be buying your first home together, you can both do this. So, $16,000 a year for a couple to buy their first home. And the really cool part about this is it lowers, because you're putting it into this account. Let's say you make $100,000 a year, you're paying taxes on $100,000, but your income is only $92,000. So it brings down your income, and in most cases you're going to get a return on your taxes. So that's a return that you can then just put into this account as well, and it can help it grow. So if you're doing this for a few years, I would recommend opening this account right away and just put in the max $8,000 if you can into the account. All right, so the home buyer's plan. If you have an RRSP with a decent amount of money in it, you can use that money to buy your first home tax-free. So it's up to $35,000 that you can personally withdraw. Your spouse can as well. And so that's $35,000 for down payment and closing costs. And to be honest, they don't really check. The CRA doesn't check what you use it for. So if you only need $20,000, but you want to take out $35,000, the max, you can do that. Then you can go on a vacation. You can buy some, whatever you want, some new furniture for the home, whatever you want, $35,000. And then over the next 15 years, you need to pay back into your RSP on equal installments that $35,000. So you have $15,000, and if you do that each year, then you will not be charged for the income tax that you avoided by having it in your RSP. And there's links for all of these government websites in the PDF. So if you want to go get an in-depth look at all of them with all of the government information, go to those sites. This is just a quick sneak peek. This is the first time home buyer incentive. So this is a shared equity program. So when you use this, the government will give you a 5% or 10% down payment, 5% for an existing home, 10% for a brand new home. And the way it works is your income, total household income, needs to be less than $120,000 per year to use this program. And your max purchase price is 4 times your annual income. So let's say you make $100,000 a year, then your max purchase price using this program is $400,000. So let's use this example here. If the government gives you a 5% down payment for your $400,000 home, the way it works is it's a loan. So when you pay off your mortgage on this home, or you sell the house and move somewhere else and the mortgage is paid off, at that point in time, when the mortgage ends, then the government asks for their equity, their money back. So if they gave you 5% at $400,000, well, what if 5 years later the house sells for $500,000? Well, then they're asking for 5% of $500,000, or 10% of $500,000 at that time. So that's how they're making their money, so to speak, through this program. So, I mean, the benefits of it, it's going to lower your monthly payments because rather than just having a 5% down payment on your own, it's doubled. You have a 10% down payment now. If you're buying a brand new home, you still need your 5% in both of these scenarios, but then you have a 15% down payment. So it lowers your monthly payments, and it's going to lower your overall interest payments over the life of the mortgage if you use this program. But not everyone's comfortable having the government own a portion of their home and having to pay them back eventually. So it's not for everyone, but it could be a good program for you. And last but not least, some saving strategies. So this is pretty much just budgeting, in my opinion. If you have debt, go check out the debt section in the PDF. There's some great strategies in there that I use for paying off debt as quickly as possible, the snowball effect. But go to the PDF. There's two different saving apps, budgeting apps that I have linked in there. There's one that's free. There's one that's, I think, $8 a month, less than Netflix. Netflix keeps going up. Same with Disney Plus. What the heck? So there's those two apps. And then here's a fun one. The 100 envelope challenge. So this is kind of a fun way to save up $5,000. You go buy 100 envelopes and you write on each envelope 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 100. And then you just shuffle up all the envelopes, and every day for the next 100 days, you pull out an envelope. And on that day, you need to put in, let's say you pull out the 20, you need to take $20 and put it into that envelope, or take $20 from your checking account and put it into a separate account, and then that money is just gone. That money is somewhere else. And at the end of 100 days, you will have saved up $5,050. So you don't necessarily have to do an envelope every single day, but the idea is once you get to 100 envelopes, you'll have $5,050 saved up. So pretty cool strategy, makes it kind of fun. You can do it with your family. We were doing it with my daughter. She loved opening an envelope and then making mom and dad put money in it. So anyways, thank you so much for checking out these videos, and we'll see you in the next one, and let's get you into your first home.